Alright guys, so before we can jump into today's video, I need to give you a few disclaimers before we get started. Number one, what we're going to be doing in this video requires working with a modder. Now there's obviously inherent risks that come along going with this. Number one, you leave yourself open to getting in trouble with Rockstar, or number two, you leave yourself getting in trouble with the modder itself. So just note that there's an inherent risk with that. So if you decide to do what we're doing in the video today, just know that there is obviously going to be a risk in doing something like this. And number two, I know for a fact that this can be done on the PC. I am not sure about the consoles though, PS4 or Xbox One, or even the older ones, 360 or PS3 for that regard. But I know this is happening on the PC. But if you know someone who can do this on PS4, Xbox One, or older systems, if you're still playing on that, then you can feel free to do that as well. But with those disclaimers out the way, let's jump into today's video and let's talk about how you can get the Duke of Death early. So we obviously don't know when this is going to be released. It could be in a couple days. It could be a few weeks from now. But it's one of the best vehicles in the game. I enjoy it so much. I love using it. And I know a lot of you guys can't wait to get your hands on this vehicle either. So in order to get this done, as I mentioned earlier, the first thing you're going to need to do is have a modder in your session. And the reason you're going to need a modder in your session is you're going to need to ask him to spawn the Duke of Death in the game. So I was working with my friend Urban, who was very nice enough to help me out with this, and he spawned in the Duke of Death. Once I did that, you need to get inside the Duke of Death. Once you're inside the Duke of Death, you just want to kind of sit there, and then you want to set your spawn location as last location. So for me, that's what it already was, but if you have it set as your apartment or your yacht or your office garage, you want to change it to last location. Now from there, what you want to do is go to the online menu and then get a new session. So once you get a new session, you should be spawned in relatively close to where you were. Now, keep in mind that where I got out of the Duke of Death was right in front of the Los Santos custom shop. So when I spawned into my new lobby, I was similarly located next to that. All I had to do was just kind of jog back to the spot with the LSC, and you could see that the Duke of Death was just sitting there. The car essentially teleported with us to the new session. Now, once you do that, you want to get inside, drive into the LSC, and then you'll be able to do things like insure it, respray it, etc. Now, the second that I insured it and that I put it in one of my garages, it simply kicked me out of the Los Santos custom shop, and it prevented me from getting in the vehicle inside of that lobby. So at first I thought that this wasn't working and that I had somehow done this wrong. And I also noticed that I was in a public session. I was in the middle of probably the busiest Los Santos custom shop. So what I ended up doing was getting my own private invite only lobby, and it actually worked. When I spawned into the new lobby, there was an insured Duke of Death standing right by my spawn location that I could bring to the Los Santos custom shop, and that I could also bring to my garage to have it stored as well, which made it incredibly awesome and super cool. Now, once I did this, you can see that it's been able to be stored in my garage. I can call it through my mechanic. I can have it delivered whenever I want. I can go to the Los Santos custom shop. I can change whatever upgrades I can do, which I actually don't think you can. I think you can only do like, change the wheels and the respray of the car itself. But nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. I think the only thing I couldn't do was change the license plate here. So maybe if you are good friends with the modder, you could ask him to put a custom plate on it before you end up spawning this in. But overall, that's pretty much all you have to do right there, and that's how you can essentially get a Duke of Death early and for free, even though that's not really as important because for returning players, it's going to be free anyways. However, if you're a non-returning player, this is also a great way in which you can, I guess, potentially save $665,000, however much the Duke of Death is. So that is really awesome right there. So a couple things I can tell you about this, since you are going to probably have to go into a public session in order to get this in. Please be careful about where you spawn the Duke of Death in. I was kind of dumb and I did it right in front of the Los Santos custom shop, which thinking about it now is probably the stupidest thing I could have done, like the most popular location that players go to in the game. So maybe you can try and do this in a location that isn't right in front of the LSC and you'll probably have a little bit better luck than me. I was super worried about not being able to get my car, someone stealing it or something like that. And also just remember the inherent risk of doing something like this. You are working with modders and you are working with a car card that is technically not in the game yet. But what's also cool about this is Rockstar have taken off the restrictions of the Duke of Death too. Typically, when you would get this vehicle in online, it would kind of like self-destruct and spontaneously combust and catch on fire, and you obviously couldn't store it in your garage. Well, since the latest update, Cunning Stunt Special Vehicle Circuit, you're now able to store it, and you can see the results that we were able to do today. And I switched multiple sessions. I came back, and it was still there. It was still just chilling in my garage, which I thought was incredibly cool. So I know this video was short, but really there isn't a whole lot to it. It is a really simple process. It's only about 10 or 11 steps, and you can do this with many of your friends if you just have the ability to get the Duke of Death in online in some way, shape, or form. So let me know if this works for you in the comment section down below. I'm curious if this is something you could do on console or if it's exclusive to PC only. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more down there as well. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.